Okay, hey y'all, we're finally back for the new year, and today we're going to be talking about pivoting and what to like tune into to help you pivot in your business if you need to, especially if you're losing money or you're not getting the engagement that you need, or like a lot of people had to do in 2020, they had to change up how they did their whole business, restaurants, pretty much everybody. So that's what we're talking about today.
Yep.
And it's a small talk big biz with Tiffany and Tequila. Hi.
What's up, y'all? So, like Sakila said, we're gonna dive into pivoting in your business, and this is like I think it's probably one of the most important topics
Yeah.
in business recently, with everything that's happened. So we know all the impacts from COVID, how businesses had to pivot, and then right after COVID, we had the lingering effect of COVID, which is the inflation and
Recession.
soft recession, markets changing, and when other businesses pivot, you have to pivot. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's just a good topic to have top of mind if you're thinking about how to improve things in your business or how to change direction with based on things that are going on. And it's all it no, most of the time it's always some external that makes you pivot. A lot sometimes it can be something internally, like you just make a decision to do it, but a lot of times it's external factors that make you decide to pivot.
Yeah.
Want to dive into that, give y'all some examples, talk about what pivoting is, what it looks like. And then I did read up on some articles about kind of some key characteristics or things to think about when you are pivoting.
Yeah. So we got this idea because I came across this post from Sweethearts, and the Sweethearts, the little Valentine chalky candies that come in a box with the conversations on the hearts. And so I'm sure they had misprints and it was cloudy messages, so they call those rejects. And I'm sure they were losing a ton of money on it. So one way that they pivot it was to remarket them as situationships conversation hearts, and that was hilarious to me. And the tagline was like candies that's just as blurry as your relationship or something like that. It's hilarious to me. I don't know how you would feel being on the receiving end of those candies. However, they found a way to tap into modern society, pop culture, and references that's going on right now. And they tapped in a way where they can make it marketable and make money off of it, and use what they would their reject pile basically
Yep.
to make money. Like, it's not a mistake anymore. And honestly, is anything in business a mistake? Probably not if you know how to market it and have a good tagline behind it. Because I mean, crocheters and knitters can make scrap yarn items. They do that all the time. It's I seen one lady, I think she does maybe not towel work, but like patches or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she sells the messed up patches as, I forgot what she calls them, but she sells them because people might find beauty in them and they use those to do whatever they. So I mean, you can profit off of your quote unquote mistakes or pivot in a way where you're not losing that money.
Right. And when you think about it, clothing companies do this all the time. They have clothes that are manufactured and they may have some type of defect. And so instead of just completely throwing it away, they offer it at a deep discount so that they don't lose any kind of money on it. But this was like genius, in my opinion. This was genius. First of all, the way their manufacturing is probably set up is if something doesn't print right, it's a reject and it gets thrown away.
Yeah.
You could imagine the amount of money that they're spending on manufacturing something and then having to throw it away.
An amount of product just going to waste.
Right. And the other part of it is like, this is for us corporate folks who do process improvement and stuff. When you start talking about like Six Sigma projects, rejects are only going to hit a certain level of a Six Sigma So that's like a basically a default or a defect level. You're never gonna get a 0% defect level in nothing you do. You're always gonna have a error rate, right? But I'm wondering if the company had like a really high error rate and they had problems getting it down because
I
of how
think
like
they did.
small, you know how small the candy is. Like
Yeah,
you
I
can't.
bet they did
Yeah,
because I
right.
eat those candies. I actually eat them. I like them. I enjoy them. And they're quote unquote good ones. Sometimes you can't even read those. So I'm sure. So I'm sure that the percentage of the error rate is like
Through the roof, right?
through the roof. I'm sure of it because the good ones you can't hardly even read. So yeah, I thought it was genius. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was a really, really good way to market to the forgotten group on, Valentine's Day.
Right, for
Like,
Valentine's
end of the
Day.
day, all the things that we do here in a capitalistic society is about money, it's about business, it's about the revenue margin. That it is what it is. And so your biggest your group of people you're going to be selling to on that day are couples.
Yep.
And as of late, I have been seeing like Valentine's Day, they have been figuring out ways to market these romantic days towards the community of people without significant others or what have you. So, or in situationships.
Yeah.
So they're really going to try to market, because at the end of the day, a business wants everybody's
Yeah.
money.
Sure.
Like you might not be their ideal client, but if you're willing to spend money with them, they're not gonna say no.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because this whole situation is just crazy. But not only can you get it to the people who are like in situationships, but think about all the people who have said like verbatim, I hate Valentine's Day. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's stupid to me. I hate, like, you can even get into that lane because it's almost making fun of love and relationships with a situationship candy.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan of Valentine's Day and you feel like it's kind of cheesy, what other way than to have a good laugh about it and to have some blurry candy?
Yeah, and I think one baker, I think that is her lane. She makes like these hard cakes and stuff with like these crude messages on there. And that's her clientele, the population who hate these cheesy holidays, these Valentine's Days, these whatever, pick a rose day.
Right.
Like, and that is the market. And she does really, really well. I wish I could remember. I have to start taking screenshots and writing these people down so I can cite my sources. This isn't very collegiate of me, but there is a baker out there who does that, or and she does like divorce cakes and like these raunchy, and even if she does something for a couple, it's like a raunchy message, like this, you know what I mean? So this is her lane, and that's what she does. It's a clientele for literally everybody every holiday.
Yep. And another thing I'm wondering too is I wonder if they were using this to also get back to maybe a more adult demographic, because I actually like the candy, but a lot of adults don't eat it. The last time I actually had the candy was when I was in school. You know how the little kids they exchange Valentine's and you automatically buy their candy. Yeah. I'm wondering if this is an opportunity for them to probably try to get into a more adult market, because it did feel like they were just it felt kiddie for a while, and that's all you bought it for was like the party at school, and your child got to take Valentine's and all that stuff.
And you know what? And I didn't even think, it's crazy that I didn't even think of it coming out of that angle as well. Like they would want to grow up their audience, and that's more, it's an external reason to pivot, but it's also, I feel like that's more internal as well, because you sold just fine. Every I'm about to say Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, you sold just fine. So that would be in my head more like an internal, who like the CEO or whatever would want that more adult audience, because adults are buying your candies anyway. They're giving it to kids or having their kids pass them out at school. But yeah, I didn't even look at it from that angle. Maybe they want to grow up
Yeah.
the audience or have at least that avenue of connection to an adult audience.
Yep. And on the topic of pivoting, actually we had to pivot ourselves.
So we pivot all the
time. We went from like straight based consulting to this model where we're doing this business podcast, and it wasn't about our clients. You know, we had good clients and they enjoyed the experience. It was more so it was an internal decision, and it was for our lifestyle. We were tired, we were stressed and just kind of hitting our limit, and we were like, we need something a little bit more flexible that makes more sense for us. So that was our story of pivoting. And I know you had to pivot at the salon. You want to talk about like kind of what that was like?
Yeah, during COVID 2020, we couldn't work. I think we didn't work for 2 months, 4 months, or 3 months. I can't really remember, to be perfectly honest. 2 to 3 months. But we had to. We sold product. And we got different kits together. Like we had a color kit, we had a relaxer kit, and it wasn't like, and we would rather our clients do that because it's our product. It isn't, I'm sorry, I got this mic on, I probably made a noise, but it's our product, and we didn't, because we don't really know about drugstore stuff or like I don't know the quality of that. I don't know the research behind that. I don't know what's good. And it's not me being bougie or anything like that. We just have access to a different caliber of supplies and products. And that's what I would prefer to use because they're regulated in a way that they're supposed to be generalized for a lot of different people. So I can't tell one client to go pick, all my clients to go pick up this product off a shelf because I truly don't know what's in a product like that, and it's not regulated to just be this generalized thing. So we had the color one, we had the relaxer kit, where if you felt comfortable enough to relax your own hair, here's what I use, here's all the ingredients, here's the stuff. It's the same one we use at the salon, so you don't have to worry about any reactions and all that type of stuff. You have already been acclimated to this stuff. So, and it's not expired, because that's another thing. When things are on the shelf in a store, you don't know the expiration on it, or you might not even know to even look for it. I look for it because I know to look for it, but most people don't. Most of us trust that wherever we're going, they're doing the right thing by throwing those products away, zeroing them out, or whatever. And the truth of the matter is, because of capitalism, most people don't want to throw away good product like that because you're losing. So they'll, keep it on the shelf. And if you have the misfortune of using certain products that's expired, that can lead to reactions, hair falling out. Like it can go bad fast. So we had those things, like I said, and we had like relationships with our vendors to where they drop ship. So we didn't have to order all this stuff on the front end. So you know what I mean? And hold it. So if our clients wanted something, they can order through us. We send the order in and they send it directly to them.
Okay.
So that was our pivot that got us through until we were able to get back. And we got a really, really good clientele. We had, fundraisers. I really won't even say it's a fundraiser or anything like that, because did we do a giveaway? I think we did giveaways, like a raffle or whatever, donations and stuff like that. So you can either enter a raffle or you can just give us a donation, and that helped us, get to the next level or get through the pandemic.
Okay. So in your opinion, what's the most important thing that you need to consider before you pivot?
The most important thing, I think, is why you're pivoting. Why? I feel like a lot of times we have things that aren't broken, but we still trying to fix something that, I mean, like if you have a good recipe, if you have a good system, you can tweak it or you can add things or whatever, but keep your foundation. You know what I mean? I don't think you have to do a full overhaul just because you got that feeling.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I think you need to understand projections. Like, don't wait till the thing gets up on you. Like the pandemic, we didn't have a choice. They did come up on you. But sometimes if you're paying attention to your projections and your trajectory, you know something's not working. You know it ahead of time. Don't wait till it gets you're so down bad that you're practically scrambling trying to, stay above water.
Yeah.
It's about being aware and being in tune and objective about your plan and your actual business. I think we get so caught up like, this is my baby, it's gonna work, and I get it. And like, that's entrepreneurship. And sometimes you have to realize like, okay, I might need to bring somebody in on this early, or I might need to merge, or I might need to cut it. Just let me just cut it here, and then I can go about it a different way. You know what I mean? Like, do that before it gets too far gone.
Yep.
I think that's really, really important. Just why are you pivoting and recognizing the trends in the market before they're happening, before they get on you like that.
Yep. I agree. A lot of times it's exactly what you said. It's the why are you pivoting? Yeah. And that it could be a very loaded question that's dependent on your other part of it, which you said is knowing what's happening in the market.
Yeah.
You could pivot because the solution that you had isn't servicing your customer very well.
Yeah.
You could pivot because your market is saturated and you're not getting enough traction because other brands are, more established, and no matter what you do, it's not changing.
Yep.
You could pivot because a new problem presented itself that you didn't service before, but your product offering or service or whatever could actually serve that problem as well as the one that you intended for it to serve initially. So there's a lot of reasons why you could and should pivot, but the question is, are you really doing your due diligence to look into what's driving you to feel like you should pivot? And let me also clarify, like, pivot does not mean rebrand. We're not talking about rebrand.
Yeah, we're not talking about rebranding. Like, and definitely clarify, because I think people think that's the same thing.
It is not.
It's not the same thing. Pivoting is literally, you still got everything you got. Let me just take a new path.
It's a strategy shift.
It's a strategy shift. It's not a rebrand.
Or a purpose shift. Like like I said, if your product normally serves one audience or fixes one issue, and then you notice another issue in the market that's similar to it, but your product or service can also fix that or offer a solution for it, that's a pivot. But definitely don't rebrand. Like, you don't have to come up with a whole nother brand. You really, honestly, a pivot should be minimal work. You really should take what you have established already and try to build off of that. And some of the things can be broken, you can fix that, but it's not like a complete overhaul. There's something in what you're already doing that works. It's just little tweaks here and there that you need to make in order to get to another buyer persona or another target audience, or even in another industry.
Increase your margin.
Yeah,
something like that. Not, let me tear this whole thing down and
rebuild it. Right. That's not the intention of a pivot.
And we did a rebrand episode before, so you guys can go back and watch that. I'm not sure exactly which number, but it's definitely on there to why you would need to rebrand.
Yeah, I want to say like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
It's more one of the last ones that we did.
Yeah. But you definitely don't want to start from the ground up when you pivot. You want to start exactly where you are and taking the information that you have gathered thus far and the problems that you have identified thus far, and then changing direction. If you're thinking about doing a whole rebrand, then you might have other types of problems going on in your business that need further analysis. And
or something you need to distance yourself from.
Yeah.
Like the infamous whatever he's calling this. Is it Diddy still? Like he does rebrands. You can do rebrands on yourself. Like
I think Diddy needs a no brand. Like
I mean, that's
let's
true.
not even bring him.
I mean, but if we're
back
talking
to
about rebranding and why you would need one and when do people do it and how
right.
like you have these things going on, and so now you love
right.
What else? I don't even know all his names at this point. Who cares? But anyway, yes, you can have personal rebrands. You can have professional brands rebrands. Like,
and just real quick, since we touching on it real quick. One of the worst rebrands I've ever seen. I may have said this in the last episode, but I'm gonna talk about them again. One of the worst rebrands I've ever seen. Music Soul Child.
oh Lord.
When he decided he wanted to become a rapper, it changed.
No, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. Why would you do that?
Persona. See, he's not that anymore. He went back to music.
Amen. I mean, because why would you? I forgot all about that was a thing. Like, but yeah, you see what we're saying? Like when you want to actually like recreate yourself, there's people who've done it. Meta World Peace.
Yep.
You know, he had a very aggressive persona about himself or perception, and he wanted to change that. There was a personal rebrand that he went under to adjust people's perception. So that's when you would need to rebrand. That's something so much major, so much bigger than just a slight strategy change. Okay,
right.
Rebranding, changing names, changing how you look, changing
exactly.
Like it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So that's the best way I could. I was like, let me just bring that up. That's the best way I could be like, rebrand to pivot. Like pivot, you still I still look like this, and I just went. I just threw a jacket on.
Right. A pivot is like if you're some kind of, let's say you do some type of I don't know, consulting or something, and normally you do like webinars, but you start to notice your webinar traffic drops. So you switch to a course method. That's a pivot. You're doing the same thing. The content is pretty much the same, but the only thing that's really changed is the delivery of the information for your audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's more of a
pivot. The same.
Yes. Information is the same. So a couple things that I did see. Let me grab my notes here. When you pivot in business, one of the things that I saw was there's a few key reasons. One is your customers. You pivot because your customers need something, or you identify a new customer that needs something that you can service. Mm-hmm. You're solving a different type of problem than you initially used to solve. There's a technology change. That's a definite pivot. You go from one software to another. And then the growth, like you may want to change, like Tequila was saying, you may want to change your margin, or you may want to grow in a different way, and scale for a different audience, or change the growth strategy, period, because there's several different types out there. All of those are, things that drive kind of the reasons for pivoting. I think the one that I've seen the most has been problem or customer.
Yeah.
What have you seen the most?
That's honestly, that's it. It's a problem or it's a customer thing, because like most of your pivoting reasons are external or the money margin. because we're dealing with inflation and stuff like that. So there would be another reason to try a different strategy out to make those ends meet. Yeah, I'm sure there's more. I just can't. They're not popping in my head right now because those are the dominant three. Yeah, those are the dominant three.
Yep.
But
So
there's
then,
more. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, there's plenty of reasons.
Plenty more.
But
Like,
those are like the top ones.
Yeah.
And it's really good also to get that, like we said, when you pivot for the customers, like that voice of customer information, what they're going through, what they're experiencing, what their pain points are, what their problems are, that's gold. Because that right there is going to drive the strategy. As long as you are answering the customer's request or you're solving whatever it is their pain point is, everything else should fall in line. If you don't know clearly though what that is, then we'll send you back to marketing 101, which is do your research.
Yeah, I'm glad you like to that because you won't know what your clients want. Like if you're not asking for reviews, or you don't care to collect a review, or you don't care to talk to your client. Say you don't do reviews, but you're just not having these conversations with them and listening, really putting on your active listening ears and hearing them when they say, I'm just talking in the beauty world right now. Atlanta is under fire. Philadelphia is under fire real bad with how stylists treat their clients and braiders as well. And sometimes barbers, like they're just really, really under fire because they're not delivering. Their deliverables are all from the demands that they're making from their clients. Demands are fine. Boundaries are fine. Standards are fine. However, there are deliverables that your client is expecting when you're asking for XYZ. If you're asking the person to not be late, or you charge $1 a minute up to 15 minutes, guess who can't be late? You can't be late. It's not okay for you to charge them and you can come in and out whenever you want. That's just no, you can't do that. If you're asking a client for deposits, but you cancel the appointment and you don't give the deposit back, like
that's rude,
girl. It's
real rude.
It's theft. That's what it is. It's theft. It's honestly theft. It's so many things. I don't have these rules, so when I hear about them, they're kind of just like, what? Like I have like the basic rules, like you get a grace, but if you're too late, I'll just cancel your appointment or reschedule it. You know, like what's the point of me charging you extra? If I'm behind, I'm behind. And if I can't do it, I can't do it. An extra $15 isn't gonna put me back on track. So to me, that doesn't make sense for me to charge extra for that. But that's what's going on. And we have in this industry, we're not taking the reviews, we're not listening to the people who are keeping you in business. So we have this flight of stylists going back to the 9 to 5 now because they can't.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, it's so many going back to. They have to either go back full time or at least part time because they don't have that clientele anymore. Keep them going, and yes, you can charge what you want, but there is a thing as pricing yourself out of your market. If you're not paying attention to your market, and when I say your market, I know it's a price point. Every price point is in every city, but you might not be a high price point stylist or entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Like your deliverables may just be giving $40.
Yeah.
Your skill set may be given. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yes, there are high price or high ticketed stylists in each city who can get top dollar, but their environment is on point. Their response level is on point. Their skill level is on point. Their timeliness, like there's so many more things that that's involved with entrepreneurship that I'm not sure is being registered
Yeah.
to the industry as a whole. So, well, that's that. So I'm glad we went to doing the research because I'm not sure if we're, like I said, I'm talking on my industry, but it's other industries out there. Like we have to have a avenue or a funnel where we get the information that we need from the people that we're serving,
Right.
in order to stay relevant to them.
The only thing I'll say is, like, I'm seeing it. Well, this trend been going on forever, but I'm kind of just deep diving into it more and more. And while I appreciate how, I guess how much easier it's become to start a business, especially an online business. Like you can get an online business started up in a week nowadays, like a couple days. Is not hard. But my issue is, like, I'm seeing all of these tools come out for automation. And while I am all about speed and going to market quickly, I'm also about being, a professional in your craft. Like, know what it is that you bring into the table. And I'm just getting really nervous about all of these trainings that I'm seeing, teaching people how to release ebooks, and you put the ebook on Amazon, and like it's a hack. Like I think I heard the hack was
use AI to write
you're using ChatGPT to write the ebook. You put the ebook on Amazon. You put the ebook on Amazon for $1.99 or something really, really cheap. You ask 5 of your friends or something to go buy the book and give you a 5-star review. And guess what you just did? You just hit the bestseller list. Like automatically. That's all it takes is 5 reviews, 5 to 7 5-star reviews of your $2 book, and now you are a bestseller. But what if your book is trash? Like,
and what if you don't know what you're talking about?
Yes, or
if
it's
it
a whole
actually
computer generated book.
Yeah, what if it gets picked up in the media and somebody invites you to something and you have no idea how to portray what you're talking about? Yeah. It's a lack of research for sure. It's alarming. It's alarming. It's alarming.
The way it's going, we're gonna see a whole bunch of folks promoting their ebooks and courses and everything else because of what people are teaching them, and it's just not, like, people are gonna start getting exposed, and it's not gonna be good. And when you start oversaturating the market with stuff like that, especially when it's half-assed or it's bad or you didn't think it through or whatever, you break trust. The point is to build trust, but now you're breaking trust. And so now, as a consumer, I'm going to question every single last ad I see on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, because I want to know, did you actually write this book, or did ChatGPT write it for you? And, like, I'm not saying don't use AI. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah, of course not.
But I would rather, I'll give y'all actually a better hack, a hack that I think would make you more credible. If you're an expert in the space and you know what it is that you want to talk about, get your ass on a Google Meet or a Zoom, record yourself talking about the topic that you want to write your book about. Don't even write down notes, because it's going to take you forever. Get yourself in a Zoom call, talk about it out loud. Turn the transcription on so that it's recording everything you say and it's transcribing. Take your transcription and then put that in ChatGPT and let that organize your thoughts into a better book. I think that's a way better hack than just asking ChatGPT to do it for you.
Yeah, off a command. A half-written command, because at the end of the day, ChatGPT is pretty new, and a lot of us don't know how to write those commands in a way that's going to truly give you an effective product.
Right.
It's going to be holes in there. So, yeah, the way you're doing it, at least those are your words.
Your
and those
thoughts.
are your thoughts and ideas. And you can back up what you're saying if you're ever called upon. but it organized it in such a way it looks more professional,
Right. Just use
more digestible.
the AI as the editor, not the author. We want you to be the author. Use the AI as the editor.
Right. Yeah.
So that just anywho. Back to pivoting. Another area that I kind of wanted to touch on just really quickly is pivoting. Is that it's not just for business, guys. Like you can pivot in your corporate career.
Yeah.
And it's again figuring out what the problem is or what the situation is and deciding like what type of pivot you're going to take on. For example, you could work in strategy for however many years, and let's say it's just not doing it for you anymore, or organizations are starting to move towards a different type of strategy. I'm noticing that strategic planning groups at organizations are shrinking. They're becoming more not centralized. They're actually decentralizing, and they're putting strategic people in like other parts of the organization. So instead of there being like a big strategic hub, there's a strategy person in operations, there's a strategy person in finance, there's a strategy person in HR, and it's becoming very decentralized. So maybe your pivot is, I worked in strategy, but maybe I need to think about a concentration that I want to work in. Like, do I want to do financial strategy, or do I want to do human resource strategy, or do I want to do IT strategy? It's little things like that you have to kind of pay attention to in corporate. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your department gets killed, and they don't know where to place you.
And that's what I was about to say. A lot of people are doing the pivoting or the hack of, job hopping to close that gap of financial gap they may have, or the insecurity of job security.
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, I had a professor, and she was like, never give more than 3 years to a job, that unless you are getting raises or you're the boss or you have this potential of growth there, don't give more than 3 years, because one, you're not going to get paid. They're going to cap you out. And a way to escape that ceiling is to honestly go apply somewhere else and demand more money, and you keep doing that.
Yeah, because business has changed so much, and we aren't our parents. Like our parents, the boomers, my mama has worked at FedEx for 40 years.
Yeah. And it doesn't work for us.
It does not work for us. She is maxed out on everything. She is capped out on everything. She can't get extra vacation. She'll get a bonus, of course, but I think she's even maxed out on that. And I just saw her a couple days ago, and every time you hit a milestone at FedEx, they give you like a gift or something for your service. You get to pick what you want. She's been at FedEx for 40 years, and you know what she got? A laptop.
Oh, nice. I can have my own laptop. My own laptop. Thank you.
I got a laptop. Now, granted, she did have to go out and buy her own and spend her own money on a laptop.
But I would rather you give me a check.
40 years. I want a check.
I want a check. And if I want a laptop, I will go buy a laptop. But I'm always 100% gonna choose a check.
Yes.
If you ask me what I want, money. Give me the money. I want
the cash.
Money. I don't want no trip. I don't want no extra days. I don't want no laptop. I don't want a pizza party. I just, however, want a check or a raise.
Yeah. Some type of something. And again, like not knocking the thought behind it, because you do want to incentivize your employees for staying and their tenure and everything. But 40 years.
But what's
that's a long time.
What's more than of an incentive than money? Honestly, if we're in this, if this is the world we stay in, if this is our society, what's more of an incentive other than you giving me cash, giving me a raise, or allowing me time off paid, which is still money? What are we talking about?
Right.
I mean, you giving me a turkey. I
I swear I can buy a
I
$20
promise
piece
you I
for
can buy
myself.
one myself. Like, thank you. But if you were to just pay me a little more, I can go get whatever I want. Like,
Right.
I don't know. Like, I get it. 40 years though.
Yes. 40 years.
And at this point, she can leave there and just go to somewhere else, right? Does she still get her stuff?
She's waiting on so she can she'll get pension, but I think she's trying to get pension and what do you call it? Social Security at the same time. You can't get Social Security until you're 65. So that'll be like double money for her. I think the only way she said that she would leave earlier, and she's not far. I'll say she has another year and a half.
Oh, that's all. So, well, you came so far. You came that far. You might as well.
Yeah. But the only other way she said she would just do it earlier is because you guys, a lot of people know this, but FedEx, they do buyouts. So if you get to the point of they want to maybe terminate your position, or they're doing, some type of cost cutting exercise, whatever, they offer people buyouts and they'll give you something like a year's salary plus 3 months of insurance for you to exit the company.
And
this is like one big either payout over time or one big lump sum. Either way it goes, you're getting a check for a year. And you don't have to work there anymore. It's almost like the positive of having a severance. So you know what I'm saying? So that's the other option on the table. But 40 years in a laptop it didn't sit right with me.
That sounds like a play. 40 years in a laptop.
It does.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
Oh well, anyways. But I feel like we get so off topic. But I know we're on topic, but I feel like we get off topic.
Yeah. So the pivoting situation, what does it need to? I'll say the other part that I read about pivot. So what do pivots need to be? Pivots need to be aligned with some kind of goal, whether it's an existing goal that you already had or new ones that you have to set up because you have a new buyer persona or a client base or product or whatever it is. It has to be aligned with the goal for it to make sense. The other thing that the article that I read recommended was pivots need to be fast. Don't spend like 6, 8, 10 months trying to like dig into something. If you're doing a pivot, you should have a good framework already established. It's just a tweak here, a tweak there, and let's go. Like it can't be something that you need to dive into for months.
Or
I think put a whole lot of investment into and a whole lot of money, a whole lot of capital. It shouldn't be it.
And so if you're a perfectionist, we talking to you.
Yeah, go with it.
Yeah, we talking to you. We talking to you. A lot of times, entrepreneurship. I feel sometimes like even your corporate ladder escalation. That's a kind of learn as you go type of situation.
Yeah, it is.
Pivots are a learn as you go situation. They're very responsive a lot of times. Like you could be proactive, like I said, just knowing the marketing and the trajectory of things going, just keeping your ear to the street, looking at politics, looking at the what's that, stock market, and feeling the temperature of your industry. Like I was saying with our industry, the clients, the customer they're getting annoyed and they would rather, figure out how to do it themselves before doing all this extra stuff. Like I was saying I can't leave the aunties alone because how simple it is. Like I will wake up one day and be like, oh, I need my hair braided, or I need some twists, or I need whatever. And I can't do that with our demographic because you really have to be, because they're booked up or whatever have you, but you have to book them well in advance. And I'm just not that person to where I don't know if I want some braids. I just wake up wanting them.
Yep.
So I can't really leave them alone, even though the experience, you don't go to the aunties for the experience, just for the people who don't know. If y'all listening in, that ain't why you go. You go because it's convenient. You go because it's usually affordable. and they're fast. That's
Right.
why you go. And you can just be like, you can wake up and be impulsive and be like, can y'all get me? And they'll probably say, yeah.
And you know what? It's funny you say that because I'm sure, y'all, we just gave somebody out there a whole damn business idea. Because I'm sure that Tequila and I are not the only impulsive women who want something done to their hair at the last minute. And think about all of the opportunities there are for something like that to happen. Like, I know I've seen plenty of Facebook posts where somebody was supposed to go to somebody and they canceled. They had a big event coming up. They really needed their hair done and they could not find a stylist to get on the books at that moment. That's you, girl. Whoever you are, that is you. Like just having your books open and branding yourself as the rescue person, the rescue hair person, the rescue stylist, whatever it is, and you pop up on scene within 2 hours or whatever, and you work your magic and you get out the door. Like,
to me, that's not a one person thing. That's not a one person thing.
Yeah, but you have like a whole team or something.
But for it to be a whole salon like the rescue,
or
something like that, and you got a whole staff, they're literally 7 days a week, at minimum 12 hours a day that's in there. Like you have somebody there at the very minimum of 12 hours a day. I'm not saying they got to be 24/7, but bare minimum, somebody needs to be there from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. like whatever. But yes, that's a incredible idea. It's just the rescue. They take walk-ins. They're very last minute. Like you have a whole staff of people in there. Do your research because everybody has to be good. You can't just have people in there, keeping you just got a body in there and they got a license. If they ain't no good, they ain't no good. You're not really rescuing nobody if you still a partner, are you?
Right. And you don't have to focus on like what the other folks are doing with the experience and the champagne and the relaxation, because those people probably don't have time. It's a rescue, right? It's last minute. You need to be quick, efficient, but really, really good and really like professional. And those people need to be top notch. And that's what you charge for. You're not even charging for the luxury stuff. You are charging because I'm getting you out of a pinch.
I'm here. I'm getting you out of a pickle, girl. So that's definitely a idea, a business model that should definitely come into fruition. I don't know if I have it in me to make it my thing.
I don't do hair, so it ain't gonna be me.
because I'm just thinking about it. You have to have people who don't mind working on those Sundays and those Mondays, and who don't mind being there a little earlier and a little later. Like this might not be the thing for someone with a family at home. You know what I mean? Like you would have to find that staff that really, really loves what they're doing or have very little commitment outside of work.
And they just don't mind being on call.
And they don't mind being on call, which
is
is
pretty much what it is.
That's another thing. So I mean, it's probably sounds wonderful for someone right out of school. But do you trust somebody right out of school?
Yeah, they might
it definitely has its pros and cons before you go run out there and be like, this is great.
Right. And look, give us a shout out and be like, I heard this on that podcast. Like, you ain't got to pay us nothing. Just shout us out and be like, wait, I heard it and that was a good idea and I did it. Like,
but think it through now. If you need further assistance of getting your systems and actually fleshing out the idea where it can actually be a successful thing, and it's not something that you just did by your seat, like fly by your seat and just threw it out there, right? But yes, there are minimum requirements that will be needed to actually run something like that. That's practically not 24/7, but at least 16/7. You know what I'm saying? 12 to 16/7. And what about holidays? What about, emergency calls? What are those services? Are you going to be providing is that chemical, is that, like it's a lot of stuff to work out, the little stuff. But yeah, I can't let go of the aunties because they, again, the experience ain't all that. It really isn't. Lord have mercy, is it one of the most chaotic things. But that goes to show, that little triangle. If it's fast and cheap, then it ain't quality. Like
Right.
you do give up things.
Yep.
You give up things. You trade things off. By me being not a planner and very impulsive, and I want what I want, I gotta go where I gotta go, right?
I'm the same way. I'm telling y'all, like, I can tell y'all right off top, a really good market for this service, lazy naturals. Because I used to be a lazy natural. I still am. I'm lazy with my locks. I will wait till the last minute, the last of the last minutes before I'm like, oh, I need to go get my locks retwisted. And then I go out on Style Seat and look for my stylist. And she booked up for the whole month. So I gotta wait a whole another month before I can get my locks done.
I'm a stylist, and I don't do all that walk in hanky panky stuff. I'm booked up myself, okay? So I get it. So, and honestly, that's probably why I don't book out with other people, because I really don't know. I might be tired when I get off, or
right.
I might not want to spend a whole off day somewhere. So I don't know. I just have to wake up and be like, yeah, today is the day. So I do appreciate the girls who still kind of operate on the I got you, on that type of timetable versus the girls like me who like, girl, you need to be booking. Like I didn't have my head wrapped around this service today.
Right.
So don't get me wrong. Do I take people if they call and if I got some time? Sure, I'll take you. If you're my client or whatever, I'll take you in. But listen, it's a market. It's a market.
It is. It's a market out there. Because when I was a loose natural, I'm telling you, like wash day, I would dread wash day. I didn't want to do it.
I'm sure.
I didn't want to do it.
working like I just woke up yesterday. I was like, oh, I gotta get my hair done. Like I can't go another week with this hair loose like this. I can't. I cannot do it. I'm not gonna be, washing my hair down or rinsing it down every 2 days to retwist it so it can look fresh, just for me to go sweat it out literally the next day, or if not the day after that. And I was just like, no, like, but it's a market, y'all. It's a market for everything. And that could be your pivot if you are willing to take on that responsibility and all the tasks that comes to making sure you could truly be that rescue spot.
Right. So, like we were saying, when you pivot, it needs to be tied to a goal. It needs to be fast and customer driven. And it also needs to be built on existing work, not new stuff that you got to start from the ground up. Start on something that isn't pretty, test it out. Start on something that's in a pretty good shape. It's just not performing well.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to do a whole lot of move this, do that, all of that. You can kind of just throw it out there the way that it is to a new market, or tweak it and throw it out to the same market. But you want to be fast and make sure that, like, speed matters. And the way that the world is shifting, there's no more months and months of planning anymore.
No.
It's better to fail fast and great than to put a whole lot of effort, time, money, resources into something and then it bomb and you can't recover.
You can't
recover because you put so much into this one product idea, this one effort, and then next thing you know, it fails and you lost. Like everything.
I don't even want to say fail. It underperforms.
Yeah, underperforms. But some stuff just bombs.
Some stuff does bomb, but I ain't just like, I don't fail. Because if you keep going at it, it might pop off. But some stuff does bomb, and you have put in so much of yourself. And we focus on money because of what type of society that we stay in, but we really do undervalue our time and our mental health when it comes to stuff like that. So again, we call out perfectionists a lot, during these conversations because I'm kind of a perfectionist.
I'm
Tiff's
definitely
kind of a
one.
perfectionist. I've learned to let it go because, like you said, you want to fail fast. And the only way to really understand what your market wants and needs is to put a prototype out.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, everybody puts a prototype out. Apple started with a prototype. Their
Right.
first phone did not even have a camera. Not because cameras wasn't a thing. There were camera phones. They just decided to put one out without the camera, and people bought it up. And what did they ask for? A camera.
Yep.
I don't know if they thought people didn't want one, but they tried it, and they went to market, and they made money to reinvest in their company.
Mm-hmm.
So go to market, fail fast. If you fail, you might not, but you're collecting that data that you would not have had if you just waited, if you set up and just put in all that time, all that money, all that mental rigmarole, and sometimes leg work.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes leg work, depending on what you're doing.
Yep.
Could have figured this out much, much faster. You could have figured out this idea is good, but maybe this isn't my market.
Yeah.
A lot faster had
Yep.
you just put it out there.
And
And
then
also,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
also don't be afraid to, if your plan, like if your business doesn't necessarily look like how you think it should look. I think sometimes we get caught up on, I was talking to someone, a close friend, and they have this business idea, and they were caught up on it looking away. Like they just had it in their head, like this is what it has to be. So it put them at a standstill. And I'm like, why are you going that way? You could do this. And they were like, oh, I never even thought about that. Because in your head, it has to be this or it's nothing.
Yep.
And a lot of times, none of this looks like how you want it or how you think it should look. Our stuff, we're sitting here right now. This is not what we had in mind. It's not
at all.
It's not what we had in mind, but this works better for us.
Yep.
Mentally, time-wise, and financially. It works better.
And I tell y'all a real good example of we thought that this should look this way, but it actually looks this way. Y'all gonna laugh, but this is a real good example of a pivot. Viagra.
Oh Lord, yes.
Viagra was
not
no, that was a side effect.
Yeah.
What they started selling Viagra for was a side effect. Viagra was actually meant to be a blood flow medication for your heart. When it went to market, and the side effect was it was curing some guy problems.
Dysfunction.
So they rebranded it and they pivot.
Yeah,
same name and everything, but they just changed the usage of the medication, and it did phenomenal. Viagra did really, really well. But I mean, they still another thing was Botox.
Yes.
Botox was meant to be for migraines.
Yep.
And the side effect was the firming of the skin.
Yeah.
So they started
paralyzing of those
the paralyzing of the muscles. That was a side effect.
Yeah.
So they actually they pivoted and they started in marketing. Now you can still get Botox for migraines. They actually do both channels. Yeah. But
they doubled their clientele.
Exactly.
Kind of like what we were talking
two different uses.
Kind of like what we were talking about with the sweethearts. I wasn't thinking about, them trying to get into adults. I mean, kids were buying them, so I'm like, oh yeah, but now they got two clienteles now.
Yep.
Yeah. So Viagra and Botox definitely were not meant to do what they're doing. Definitely Viagra wasn't for sure. And then they found that out. So a pivot. Still a blue pill, still named Viagra, still all those things. They just literally changed the usage for it and who they're targeting.
Market. Yep. based on the research that they got from how the medicine was being used in the trials and everything.
Yep.
So anyway, but for back to the corporate folks, when we talk about pivoting for you guys, it doesn't have to always be like a position change, at least not initially. Yeah. I would say if you're thinking about doing a career pivot, because this is what I did and it helped me out a lot, so I'll share the same thing. If there is a space for you to have a conversation with your manager to ask them for a project that is outside of the scope of your work today, then I would say that's a good opportunity for you to dip your toe into something different without switching a position and being actually responsible for the job that you're going to be in. Because if you just do a whole career shift and you go into a new position and you don't like it, or the work doesn't make sense or whatever, you're stuck. But if you go in your existing role and you say, hey, I feel like I need a little bit more of a challenge, or I think I've mastered what I'm doing in my role today. Is there something else that I can do somewhere else I can add value, blah, 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 ask to be put on a special project, that opens you up to a lot of different stuff going on in the organization. And then as you work in that project, you can kind of figure out, I love this and this is what I want to do, or I absolutely hate this. I'd never do this shit again. And it's no foul, right? It's right. You're not gonna, like, unless you perform horribly and you just don't do the job, nobody's gonna fire you because you failed at a project. You know what I'm saying? They're just gonna tell you, okay, well, we tried this and it didn't quite work out. Let's go back to the drawing board, or let's go back to what you were doing before. But that's how I got into project management. I was not a project manager by trade when I got into it. I asked to do something different, and there was a project that came up where they needed a resource, and I said, boom, I got it. And they actually like paid for me to go through training. They paid for my project management certification, and I did it, and I kept doing it, and I got better at it. And then next thing you know, I got into a project management role. So that's a way to pivot in your career without actually like just making a hard turn, because those hard turns are really hard to do when you don't have the experience. You've been working in another area for years and years, and you kind of almost get pigeonholed. Like if you've been doing supply chain for 10 years, they're gonna pigeonhole you in supply chain. If you've been doing purchasing, they're gonna try to pigeonhole you there. So try to get some kind of project that is out of scope.
How do you demand, or I won't say demand, how do you discuss compensation? Do you wait until you find out you're good at it?
It depends. So it depends on where you work, the culture where you work. It's a lot of different factors. For me, compensation was already in the conversation because they were giving me the skill set to do. One, I had already proven I could perform. Two, they were giving me the tools and the skill set to do the job that they were putting in front of me. Now, was it a big pay raise? No. But it was enough to justify me feeling like I'm getting what's important, the experience, the exposure, and I did get a pay raise. That's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you're going to have to sacrifice and volunteer. And I know that sucks. A lot of people don't. Like, I ain't gonna do no extra work for free. I feel you. But in corporate, sometimes you have to think of the grand scheme and the greater plan. If you can volunteer for 6 months on a project and then move to another position that pays you $20,000 more than what you make today, sacrifice the 6 months and do what you need to do to get yourself the experience or the exposure. So sometimes you can get compensation. Sometimes it's just I would rather value the experience and the work and worry about the money later.
Entrepreneurship is the same way, because you find yourself presented sometimes with collaborations and different opportunities like that. And I'm not, have some people be like, I'm not doing nothing unless they pay me this and then whatever. But if you have your goals written down, this is why you should know why you're pivoting or what you're doing this stuff for. If you have your goals written down and there's a certain level of experience you need to get to the next step, I won't say next level, but just to get to the step that you want it to be in, then you sometimes it makes more sense to let me take on this collaboration. Let me volunteer my time to this set work, or let
Right.
me, you know what I'm saying, or let me do this free for you type thing in
Mm-hmm.
exchange for XYZ. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you're working with an influencer or someone with a platform, you have to know why you're doing those things. Like,
Yep.
you know what I'm saying?
The end goal.
You're
Yeah.
still presented with those things in entrepreneurship as well. So I want to tell people like to turn down everything just because it doesn't come with a physical check right then and there. But I also want to tell you to take every opportunity or
Free
every
opportunity.
collaboration either, especially if it's not actually working towards a goal that you have.
Right. And it's really important to understand, like, us corporate, when we talk about the corporate jargon and stuff or whatever, it's the cost benefit analysis
Yeah.
basically. What
Mm-hmm.
this is going to cost me X and I'm going to get these types of benefits. And the reality of the situation is, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in corporate, everything is not going to be a monetary benefit. However, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have value.
Yeah.
Man, that's what you need to sit down and think about is, okay, if I'm not going to get monetary compensation for this, what value am I going to get out of it that's going to be equal or close to me getting a paycheck? Because I'll tell you this, if you did decide to do a collaboration with someone, and their following is bigger than yours, and you end up getting a good 1,500 to 2,000 followers out of it, that's value. And it's not money, but those are now you got 1,500 to 2,000 people following you, and those could be potential clients
Yeah.
of yours, and that's money later on down the line. Now,
Potential
can
money.
you
Yeah.
can you measure that? Not really. It's not clear math. You can make some assumptions. You could say, if I get 1,500 more
And
followers,
I want to convert
I
over.
want to convert 1% of that or
Yeah.
2% or whatever it is, then yeah, you could do some back of the napkin math like that. Not no boy math or no Elon math, nothing.
Right.
But just do like some real quick calculations to make sure it's worth your while. But I think in any instance, whether it's corporate or entrepreneurship, you need to get really comfortable with the fact that at some point in your moving up the ladder, you're gonna have to sacrifice something. You're not gonna get paid for something. You're gonna have to do something for free, volunteer for something, whatever, just to get you to the next step, so that you can get in the bucket or the box that will propel you to be able to make the type of money that you want.
Yeah, and the way you protect yourself is knowing where you're
What
going,
the goals are.
very clear cut goals, clear cut vision, clear cut trajectory. So you know what to say no to, and you know what to say yes to, and you never feel like you got cheated out of anything, because that's how you protect your peace.
Yep.
And put your boundaries in place. I'm only doing this because this person said they're going to give me these deliverables in return.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You always got to get something out of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get this. I won't say exposure, or say like, oh, I can put this in my portfolio or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, in order for me to get this particular work or this particular job, I need this thing in my portfolio.
Yep. Right.
It's like volunteer work when you're trying to be a part of a group or something. Like, you need these things. You have to check off some list, some boxes in order to even be considered here. And if that's your goal, you go do those boxes.
Mm-hmm. And I see it all the time. Well, I know Tequila sees it all the time, but I definitely see it all the time in her industry and health, wellness, beauty. All of y'all are the kings and queens of bartering.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love seeing entrepreneurs barter the way that they do. Like, I'm a new photographer. I'm a
Oh yeah.
new model. I need
Oh yeah.
photos. I need a
Yeah.
a
I love that right there. I
portfolio.
love that. And
I love it.
I was literally just thinking, I'm like, I have to go. I got that feeling I need to like create some stuff. And I love to like reach out to just like people I've come in contact with or I'm following on Instagram. And if I feel like they do dope work, I want to let's collaborate, let's do something. And it's most of the time they just want to collaborate, like just create something too. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
the value is us just flexing that creative muscle
Yep.
and being able to just do something that we not following orders on. We just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want to try this. And the model is down to try because they get these services and they need pictures.
Yep.
The photographer is down to do it because they need pictures. And the artist or whomever, they down to do it because they need to do that work. They want to try, the photographer want to try this funky new position or
Right.
that's those collaborative moments when everybody is really just wants to flex that creative muscle. Y'all get together, you collab, you put that mood board together, come
Mm-hmm.
into agreements, and now everybody got dope work.
Yep.
Like
And
now
everybody wins. Everybody
yeah,
wins.
yeah, that's one of the best. That's one of the best things. Like that just feels really, really good. It just gives people that outlet.
Yep.
Just give you that outlet because we don't have that outlet, y'all. I know it might look like we do, but we really don't have that outlet because
Yep.
y'all are paying us, so we have to do a thing, and a lot of us get stuck doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. And that's a pro tip for y'all. Like I know there's an app out there, right? I can't remember the name of it, but there is an app where you can meet other people to barter services.
Oh, I don't know.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna try to find it and I'll drop it like in the chat or the comments or something. But I know that there is an app out there where a lot of it's not just creatives, it's business owners as a whole. And if you need like project plan or a strategy or something, you're good at financials, you can offer to work somebody's books. They can put together a strategy for you. Boom, you didn't have to pay for it. You
Mm-hmm.
pay for it in time, but
Yeah.
there's nothing hitting your P&L. There's nothing coming out of your pocket money wise. You're not dipping in paying somebody $4,000 for a
Yeah.
system.
And now you got what you need, and
And
that
you got
person
what you
is
need.
like, "Well, I did this work, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a win-win." But I don't know the app, but I do just use. I know I use LinkedIn. I used to. Well, I
Yeah,
used to.
LinkedIn is a good one too.
I ain't on there no more. But you got IG, you got TikTok, you literally got Facebook, you got Snapchat. Like it's so you got well, not Twitter, X. Anyway, X. You got Threads. Like we have a network. That's really what social networking is, y'all. That like it's not just haha laugh. You use socials to actually network, to actually meet people,
Yep.
to actually go around the gatekeepers, to put your name in arenas and hats and get into rooms that you normally wouldn't be able to get into. Now you have access to that. That's what social media is for. It's a tool.
Yep.
It's fun, it's funny, but it's also crafty.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you really know how to use it. So don't forget about that. It's definitely a tool.
Yep. All right. So we are at the top of our time here. And as usual, we hope everything that we said was helpful, gave you some good nuggets. I think we gave you a couple good gems.
Yeah.
We gave somebody a really good ass business idea. So when we post this video, we want somebody to drop in the comments and say, man, I heard this and I actually executed on it because that was brilliant.
You're right. And executed on it well. Like it's going good. Yeah. I did my research. Yeah.
Right.
It's a yeah. It's an audience.
But y'all don't be afraid to pivot fast. If it messes up, it's okay. Just tweak it and keep going. I understand we have those. I am the worst at perfectionism. I've sat on stuff so long and just sat there, and it just sat and sat and sat, and I was like, this ain't working because it ain't making me no money, and it ain't doing nothing.
It don't make no money being still, baby. You gotta put it out there. So
You gotta put it out there. And
Gotta
if
put it out
people and look, if people rip it, it's cool because people gonna rip it regardless. Like, just ignore it in one ear out the other. Because guess what? This is social media, and somebody gonna have something bad to say regardless. You could be
Absolutely.
doing perfect work. You could be
Yeah.
doing the Lord's work, and somebody is gonna come in and rip it.
Yeah.
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 So
I mean,
how
I'm
does
gonna
it
talk
look at
myself
social
out of
media?
stuff just because I'm like, who cares about this? Or you know what I'm saying? Like, child, you do the thing. Please.
Yes,
Just
do
go
the
do it.
thing.
Honestly, it's 2024. We all getting too old for this. Just do the thing. Lord have mercy. Just do it. Just do the thing. But hopefully y'all got something. We know we ramble. We always ramble, but
Always. But we
it is
ramble
what
with good stuff.
yeah, it is what it is. So hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully y'all got something from it. Let us know in the comments what you learned. What would you like to talk about? Just let us know. We like feedback. We really do.
We do. And we will come back in a couple weeks with the next topic. We got a lot of stuff going on ourselves, so just stay tuned. We do plan on doing a giveaway very soon. We'll be posting that on our Instagram page. And we do have our new shirt line that has released, and we haven't talked much about it, but we have some really nice, dope entrepreneurial themed shirts. The titles one is what Tequila's wearing right now. That one's pretty dope. It basically just encompasses all of the positions that an entrepreneur has in their business. And then I have on my generational wealth loading t-shirt. Just kind
And
of,
we got some corporate theme ones as well.
we do have some corporate themes as well. So it's just, a little bit of something to bring a little bit of humor to this life and this thing that we call business. So
Absolutely.
check us out, check our brand out. We'll be posting that giveaway soon, and we do have a couple more shirts on deck that we will be releasing in the next couple weeks. And that's it for us.
Bye.
So y'all be straight and peace out, and we'll see you next time.